You've definitely heard of flow, right? That amazing feeling of being completely in the zone. But where did that idea actually come from? Well, long before it was a buzzword or a bestseller, it all started with a scientific puzzle laid out in a fascinating, if a little dense, book from 1975. So today, let's dive into the original science and uncover the real story behind flow.
The whole thing kicked off with a really simple but kind of profound question. Why do people pour thousands of hours into getting good at chess, or risk their actual lives climbing up a giant rock? What is it that drives us to do these incredibly difficult things?
I mean, think about it. For most of these things, there's no paycheck waiting for you at the end. The motivation, it's clearly not about money.
And it's not really about getting famous either. Most of the world's best climbers or chess players are hardly household names. So what is the reward?
And this is the real kicker. People will do these things even when they are actively, seriously dangerous. This is the exact mystery that a psychologist named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi set out to solve.
And his answer was, essentially, a map of our inner world. It was a model he called the flow channel. And on this map, there are two dangerous territories that we are always instinctively trying to avoid.
Okay, so on one side of the map, you've got boredom. We all know this feeling, right? It's when your skills are way up here, but the task is just too easy. You're completely checked out. And then, on the total opposite side, you've got anxiety. That's when the challenge feels like this huge, overwhelming mountain, and it just completely crushes your ability to handle it. It's pure stress.
But right smack in the middle, there's this perfect corridor. That's the flow channel. It's that sweet spot where your skills are perfectly matched to a really high level of challenge. You're being stretched, for sure, but you're not broken. And this is where all the magic happens.
Because inside that channel is where we find flow. It's a state of being so deeply absorbed, so totally involved, that the activity itself becomes the reward. And this is so important. It means we don't climb the mountain just to get to the summit. We climb it for the feeling of climbing.
So what does it take to get into this state? And what does it actually feel like when you're there? Come on, let's break down the anatomy of this so-called optimal experience.
Well, it turns out finding this channel isn't just random luck. There are 3 essential conditions you gotta have. First, you need clear goals. You know exactly what the next step is. Second, you need immediate feedback. Moment to moment, whether you're succeeding or failing. And third, you need that all-important balance between challenge and skill we were just talking about.
When those conditions are met, something pretty amazing starts to happen. Your actions and your awareness of them just fuse into one. There's no separation between thinking about what to do and actually doing it. It just flows.
And here's one of the most powerful effects. You know that little nagging voice in your head? The one that's always judging you? Your self-consciousness? It just fades away. You stop worrying about what other people think or if you're good enough. You're just there.
And maybe the most famous sign that you're in a flow state is that your sense of time gets completely bent out of shape. You look up at the clock and realize 5 hours have shot by in what honestly felt like 30 minutes. It's wild.
Now, to prove this wasn't just some nice idea he cooked up, Csikszentmihalyi didn't just speculate. He actually went out and interviewed people who are masters at finding this state, the original pioneers of flow.
So take a surgeon, for example. Talk about a high-stakes job where flow is absolutely critical. The goals are incredibly precise, the skills involved are immense, and the feedback from the patient's monitors is constant and immediate. The real reward isn't just the paycheck, it's the feeling of a perfect, flawless execution. Or think about a rock climber. The feedback there is even more direct and, physical. The mountain tells you immediately if you've made the right move. You either find that handhold or you fall. That intense focus you need just to stay on the wall, that is the entire point of the experience.
And the same thing happens in a purely mental world, like the one a chess player lives in. The rules are rigid, the goal, checkmate, is always crystal clear, and every single move your opponent makes gives you instant feedback on your strategy. It's like the perfect mental gymnasium for finding flow.
Okay, this is all great for surgeons and grandmasters, but what about the rest of us, right? Well, this is the most exciting part of this original research. It actually gives us a blueprint for how to engineer more of this flow into our own lives.
The ultimate goal here is to develop what Csikszentmihalyi called an autotelic personality. Now that's just a fancy term for a person who doesn't wait for flow to happen, they go out and create it. They can take a mundane, boring task and find a way to restructure it into an engaging game.
So how do we do it? Here are 4 practical steps you can take. First, for whatever you're doing, set tiny, immediate goals. The very next step. Second, figure out a way to get fast feedback on how you're doing. Third, you gotta learn to tune the challenge. If it's too easy, add a little constraint to make it harder. If it's too hard, break it down into smaller, less scary pieces. And finally, you have to create a space where you can focus completely without distractions pulling you away.
This framework is such a powerful tool for taking back control of your own experience. So I'll just leave you with this question. Looking at your own work, your hobbies, even your chores, where could a little bit of intentional design unlock your next optimal experience?